All right, so this one is called Hard Work Will Get Results Part 2. I wasn't planning on doing a Part 2, as this video really is going to, at the end, summarise my European Championship race in Vichy. And it occurred to me that it was a kind of a combination of what I was talking about in the previous video. So, previous video, I talked about how hard work will get results. And the premise of that was being that as an individual myself, I wouldn't consider myself naturally talented. And as a result, a lot of what I've achieved has been through hard work. If you go and watch the previous video, you'll see more about that and I go into it in a bit more detail. However, in this video, I also wanted to kind of draw in a previous video where I talk about not needing all the kit to achieve what you need to do. So meaning, if you're trying to achieve something, don't just go and spend loads of money to try and achieve it. That can be a bit of a distraction and actually can put you off course slightly. Again, go and watch the previous video on that. And to illustrate that, I'm going to reference two, I guess you could say, seminal musicians, electronic musicians. The reason I've chosen musicians is, again, if you've not noticed in the background, I'm obviously into my music. And the first one I'm going to refer to is Liam Howlett from Prodigy. Now, you may not be a Prodigy fan. However, if you watch this video that I found on YouTube and I'm sharing on this video, you'll see that Liam Howlett started in his bedroom with very minimal kit. And with that minimal kit, he produced probably the first really successful commercial rave album in the early 90s. And obviously then Prodigy went on to be one of the biggest electronic acts out there.
Techno's enabled hundreds of teenagers up and down the country to make records in their own bedrooms. This track, Crazy Man, the B-side to the Prodigy's new single, like all his music, was recorded in Liam's Essex flat.
And then the second musician I want to refer to is DJ Shadow. And again, in the 90s, he created an album called Introducing. It was all through samples. And again, I've got a video showing his studio. And again, minimal kit. But you can tell, particularly with this album, you know that he worked really, really hard because it's all created from samples. And if you see, there's one particular scene where you just see a room full of records. And if you don't know anything about sampling, basically you have to spend hours. And particularly in the 90s, because you had minimal memory on the kit that you could use, you had to be very clever with how you were using your samples and sampling them and putting them together. It would have taken him, I'd love to know how many hours it took him, a long, long time. That album is now considered one of the greatest albums of all time and is always in top 100 lists by Rolling Stone and all those sort of people. And what they both illustrate is that they had a passion for something and they had minimal resources, but that didn't stop them. They took what they had, they invested, because you've got to invest something. And the biggest investment they made was their time and their effort. They maximized what they got. They were hugely successful, and then they went on to bigger things. Now, I'm not comparing myself to those two musicians because obviously we're talking about two very famous, very seminal, groundbreaking artists. However, in a similar way with triathlon, to get to Vichy, which this video will summarize at the end, the European Championships, I had a £350 bike, which I already owned. If you know anything about triathlon, that's not very much money. You can spend thousands and thousands and thousands. And a lot of the people I'm racing and in qualification was beating were on really expensive bikes, which again illustrates the kind of point I'm making where I'm beating people who've invested a lot of money on a bike. And what that means is they bought that bike hoping it's going to take them forward. It kind of has a little bit, but you've got someone like me on a very heavy steel frame bike beating them, which means they haven't focused on their training. They haven't focused on, I guess, a much cheaper way of getting the result they're after. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have carbon trainers. Everything was done through YouTube. I made up my own training plans and I spent the time researching and training hard. And as a result, I got to the European Championships and I competed for my country. Now, some of you watching this will be like, yeah, it's an age group, mate. It's not pro. And it's like, yeah, that's a fair point. But you still got to get there. And particularly in my age, for whatever reason, 40 to 49 is extremely competitive. And to give you an idea of how competitive, the guy who wins the European Championships, the World Championships in my age, tends to win the whole event as well, and has actually been invited to race in pro races, could definitely go pro. He spoke about it in interviews, but has decided not to. And he's British, and he's exactly the same age as me. And so what I'm achieving is competitive. It's not straightforward. No, I haven't gone pro, but hey, this is not the end of these videos. I'm not saying I'm going to go pro, but we don't know. We don't know where this is going to go. So I guess the upshot of this is really that if you've got a plan, if you've got a challenge, you've got something you're trying to overcome, you've got a big dream that just seems impossible, a huge mountaintop to use your cliche, and you're down in the valley, you don't need to go and spend loads of money to get the thing off the ground. What you do need to do is look at the resources you've got, maximize the resources you've got, and make headway. And then as you reach that point where, I guess in a way, you've reached the limit. So for me, I reached the limit with my bike and what I could achieve. So I now do have an expensive bike, and that's taken me to the World Championships. So I've gone up a level. Then that's the time to invest and take your next step forward. What you don't want to do is spend a lot of money, not do anything with what that money you've spent. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. You've got all this stuff and you just don't know what to do with it, and you do less. So yeah, so the moral of the story is don't invest loads of money. First of all, use the resources you've got in front of you. Apart from anything, what happens if you don't enjoy it? It's not for you. You've picked the wrong thing. You haven't wasted loads of money if you've thought about it carefully in advance. The other thing I would also say is when you see this video of Vichy, in fact, actually, I'll show the video of Vichy. Some of you may have already seen this, and then I'll summarise afterwards.
Take the exit towards A719.
Vichy. Let's go. Are you filming? Okay, done. European Championships done. European Championships done. Swim was pretty manic. Like, first bit, all over the place. Then I got a bit of clear water, and then I just got completely gassed and got caught. And it went a bit chaotic again. Bike was solid. It's okay. And then the first part of the run was alright, and then oh my god, it's just that last 4k every time. It's just You just don't want to do it. It's just awful. So there you go, that was Vichy, and I think what you can get from that is, well, a few things. I'll go through my result and how I did, but you can also see that I got a road trip out of it, I met new people, it was an experience that I've never experienced before, and all of that has come through hard work. So at minimum, you put that effort in, you put that hard work in, you don't go and buy all the stuff, you use the resources you've got, you'll have adventures and journeys and achieve things you never thought were possible. In terms of the result, so in terms of Vichy, it makes for quite interesting reading, particularly as I've got the World Championships coming up in 2025. This happened in 2024. So at Vichy, in my age, I came 13th overall, and there was 35 people in my age, so not too bad. And I did a 2:21, which is a little bit slow. Swim was 25:34, and that was a really difficult swim. I found the river swim really challenging. Bike was a little bit slow. It was hilly, 1:13. I don't think I pushed hard enough on the bike. I did do a sub 40 in the 10K, which is not something I always achieve, so that was good, 39:32. So 13th in my age, 65th overall at the World Championships. So that's from 18 up to, I think there were some people competing in their 80s, which is incredible. The winner did it in my age, did it in 2 hours. And this is the guy I mentioned earlier, did it 2 hours. So full 21 minutes quicker than me, 20-minute swim, 5 minutes quicker than me, 1:03 bike, 10 minutes quicker than me, 33:51 run, 5 minutes quicker than me. So quite incredible. And he actually came second overall in the whole event. So not only did he win my age, he came second for the whole event. And so I achieved what I wanted to achieve. I represented my country. I raced at the European Championships, but I still felt there was more. I didn't feel like I gave it my best shot. And kind of to summarize what we were talking about at the beginning of the video. So what I've done now is I've taken it the next step. I've got a coach, I've got carbon trainers, and I now have a proper bike. And we're now working towards maximizing those tools. And the aim is World Championships, top 5, and I'd love to be in the top 40 overall. So top 5 in my age and top 40 overall. That would be a huge step forward. And then hopefully I can take that into the next year. And then next year, we'll be really looking at focusing on my run off the bike, getting that speed up. That's the sort of thing that's going to win me races or win more of these types of races. And then my swim, I've got the pace. I'm a good sprinter. I've got good speed. I just can't hold it. And so there's probably a couple of minutes in the swim. So anyway, there you go. This is Johnny Castle. It's the What If channel. I hope that you can take some of this, I guess you could say, wisdom and apply it to whatever it is you're taking on, whatever challenge it is. It doesn't need to be a sporting challenge. It could be a music one, an artistic one. It could be saving money. It could be changing careers, whatever it is. And use your resources wisely, work really hard, and I have every confidence that you'll achieve way more than you ever expected.